How would you like to travel to massive convention centers filled with people in unique and extravagant costumes? How would you like to see excesses of artists, craftsmen's newest creations, as well as attending panels featuring major TV and film stars, animators, and voice actors? Today's guest will talk about these and other unique experiences as he has encountered while attending comic conventions. The Humanities Mass Communications Department at Norwalk Community College presents The New Directors, the show that introduces you to television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now join our host, Anthony Francelli, to meet the next new director.
Thank you for joining us for today's edition of The New Directors. All the people involved with this program are students in the television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, operating cameras, and acting as talent for the first time today. The guests you will meet on this show are students who, when not on camera, are behind the scenes working hard to bring this program to you with as few mistakes as possible. Each student has written and directed 4 different productions. This program will give them the chance to talk about themselves and the productions they've created, and give you the chance to get to know them and enjoy some of the work they've done during the semester. Our guest today is a costume design enthusiast who has traveled to many different conventions around the country, where he has taken great photos as well as being captured in many himself. We would like you to meet today's guest, Wilson McAlarney.
Thanks for having me.
It's nice to have you. Now, Wilson, we know that you attend comic conventions. Could you tell us about them for a little bit?
Sure thing. So I actually brought a little slideshow to show off some of the stuff I've done. It all started in 2013, which is when I went to my first Comic-Con in New York. That was, wow, it's already 3 years ago. And I decided to dress up with a friend of mine. We'd never done it before, and it was a lot of fun to participate with everyone. There we met some friends, and we got involved in more group activity. So now a lot of the stuff I do and a lot of the pictures you'll be seeing, they feature larger groups. I mainly have a group of 4, including myself, and then sometimes we get other people in there as well who we happen to find at the conventions. Many of these photos are actually from last year. It's a convention in Maryland called KatsuCon. It's held at the Gaylord Hotel. It's actually a really nice venue, and it's probably our favorite one of the year. It's a really rewarding hobby, since the people who see what you do, they really have an appreciation for the detail that goes into it, because we make all of our costumes and such ourselves. So like you see there, I made the pants, the shirt, and all that, and so it's a lot of work, but it's really satisfying when you get people who understand what you were going for, and they really appreciate all the work you put into it. That one's actually there was a cherry blossoming festival thing going on in the city, which was real nice. And yeah, I'm the person in the orange there, if you can't tell. I'd be surprised if you could. And then these 2 characters, if you knew more about the characters, there's context to what's going on here. And then I really like this close-up because you can actually see I used colored contacts, which were a total pain, but it was worth it.
Not gonna lie, that is terrifying, Wilson. Those contacts scared me a little bit. I saw you did that one pose in every single one. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
Look good, kid. Can you tell us why you decided to take the TV production courses?
Sure thing. So when I was younger, I used to mess around with editing on Sony Vegas. Used to edit together gameplay videos for YouTube, and I loved doing that, but I kind of stopped doing it as time went on. And I took some film classes recently, within the past year or 2, and it gave me a lot of understanding for film, so I thought it'd be only natural to take a TV production course and try to apply some of the knowledge I learned in my film classes into actually using a camera.
Okay, nice. It's nice to hear. What are some of the most useful things you have learned in the course?
Well, probably the most useful thing I've learned is that you can tell a story solely through the camera without the need necessarily for dialogue or sound. You can use different positionings and camera movements to convey what you're trying to get the audience to feel. And that was something I didn't really think a whole lot about before.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Could you please tell us about the Student Studies, Cup of Tea, Nature, and the Orange projects you've completed in this course?
Sure thing. So with Student Studies, my first project, it didn't pan out super well because I didn't take all the necessary steps beforehand. I thought I could just, sit down, do it for a couple hours and be done. And that created a lot of problems and wasted time when it came to recording as well as editing. It just made it a lot more work for myself than I really needed it to be. But overall, I was happy with how it came out given the constraints I was working under. But it definitely taught me a lot about being prepared before you go out to film.
It's a great book. Great book.
So this is the Cup of Tea. I had my sister be my actress for this. She did a pretty good job. The one thing about this was I planned this one out a lot better with diagrams, shot list, all that. And I think it definitely came out a lot better because of it. There were definitely some continuity errors that I wasn't aware of when filming, but they became very obvious after I edited it together. So this is Nature. This one might have taken the longest to get all the shots for because I went to a variety of different places. This was near Woodland Park, which is near my house. And I needed probably the shots that took the longest were the consecutive zoom because you need 3 different shots for each of those. And I had a hard time picking what I was really gonna use for those.
Nice shots.
And this is my Orange project. I had fun with this one. In this project, the orange is sentient, and he's trying to escape being eaten. So you see, takes a dive. He's trying to get away, but our actress is not having it. She wants this orange. Oh, there he goes again.
Yeah, again. Nice.
I like this part a lot because I got to include my dog, which was very difficult.
Very difficult to include your dog?
Yeah,
I can only imagine
he's very
that.
feisty. He's still a little one.
Yeah,
So.
it must be a tough time with the actors at first and often then just her whole animal,
Yeah.
Could you tell us about your best project?
Okay, so my best project, I want to say, was probably my Cup of Tea project. Though it definitely wasn't perfect, I was happy with how it came out, even with the continuity errors, because it was the one that I feel like I did the best job planning out. And even though there are a few errors there, I was able to learn from those errors and do better in the rest of my projects.
How long did it take to film, do you think?
For this one, it was probably about 2 to 3 hours, maybe. I had to break it up a little bit because my sister had homework to do.
Makes sense. Got to work around the actors.
Yeah.
Some nice, very nice shots.
Thank you.
Now, you mentioned the variety of things you have learned in this course. What was the most interesting and important skill you learned, and how will you put it to use?
Okay, so I think the most important skill was learning the process of scripting and storyboarding. It showed me the amount of planning that goes into a production before you even touch the camera. And that was something I hadn't really given much thought to before I started taking this class. With Student Studies, I kind of just jumped in and tried to shoot all the shots without a cohesive understanding of what I needed. And it definitely made things much, much harder. So I was really happy that I got to learn how important planning is to filming.
Yes. A lot of work that has to go into it, definitely. Today we got to meet someone who shared with us what the world of costume design is like. As a new TV director, he hopes to apply what he has learned here at NCC to enhance his photo and video capturing ability to use at his conventions in the future. He also plans to use the new knowledge from TV1 to be able to edit together exciting new projects going forward. We would like to thank Wilson for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure. We hope you enjoyed meeting some of television's future directors, and we hope you will continue to join us each week to watch our progress. Thank you, and have a great day.
This has been The New Directors with your host, Anthony Grancelli, directed by Kathleen Clary. I am your announcer, Josue Dosi. The New Directors is a Norwalk Community College student production. How would you like to travel to massive convention centers filled with people in unique, extravagant costumes? How would you like to see an excess of artists, craftsmen, and their newest creations, as well as attending panels featuring major TV and film stars, animators, and voice actors? Today's guest will talk about these and other unique experiences he has encountered while attending comic conventions. The Humanities Mass Communications Department at Norwalk Community College presents The New Directors, the show that introduces you to television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now, join our host, Anthony Grancelli, to meet the next new director.
Thank you for joining us for today's edition of The New Directors. All of the people involved with this program are students in the television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, operating cameras, and acting as talent for the first time today. The guests you will meet on this show are students who, when not on camera, are behind the scenes working hard to bring this program to you with as few mistakes as possible. Each student has written and directed 4 different productions. This program will give them the chance to talk about themselves and the productions they've created, and give you the chance to get to know them and enjoy some of the work they've done during the semester. Our guest today is a costume design enthusiast who has traveled to many different conventions around the country where he has taken great photos as well as being captured in many himself. We would like you to meet today's guest, Wilson McAlarney.
Thanks for having me.
It's very good to have you. Now, Wilson, tell me, we know that you attend comic conventions. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure thing. So I brought a little slideshow to show off some of the stuff I've done more recently. So it all started in 2013 at New York Comic Con in the city. That was the first ever Comic Con convention I ever went to, anything like that. And I thought it'd be fun to dress up for it. And so I convinced my friend to do it. We went as like a duo. And from there, we met other people who had similar interests to us, and we created like basically a 4-person group. And then obviously we find more people along the way at the convention centers. Like there are a lot of people in that photo. It was a large meetup. Many of these photos are actually from a con I went to last year called KatsuCon, which is in Maryland, right near DC. It's a great convention. It's probably our favorite all year. And it's a really rewarding hobby since people really appreciate all the detail that goes into it, because we make all our own stuff generally. So it's a lot, it's difficult, and people appreciate the efforts you strive to like get all the details in, because all the costumes are based off of some kind of character in various different forms of media. And we strive to like be as accurate as possible. But it's like with filming, sometimes you have to settle a bit, just because you can only do so much to create 2D objects into the 3rd dimension, you know?
Yeah.
Like you run into limitations. This was at a blossoming festival in the city, which was, they also had like a costume thing going on there, which is neat. This is at the place I was telling you about. That's me in the orange.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this one, there's more context if you knew which characters we were representing. And then I really like this close-up because it shows the contacts I was using, as well as the thing I had to put on my nose. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable experience.
Well, if I came across you in a dark room, you'd probably scare the hell out of me, just letting you know right now. Could you tell us why you decided to take the TV production courses?
Sure thing. So I used to mess around with different editing software when I was younger, like Sony Vegas, and I had a lot of fun with it. I haven't really done stuff with that in a couple years, but about a year ago, I decided to take some film classes because that's something that interested me. And after taking some of those, I thought it was only natural to take a TV production course because I already learned all these film terminology terms, and now I get to see how they're actually put into use.
Nice, nice. So you're learning, that's really good, that's very good. What are some of the most useful things you've learned in the TV production course?
Well, there are a lot of useful things I learned. Probably one of the most useful, if not the most useful, is I've learned how you can use the camera and cinematography to convey a message without the help of necessarily dialogue or sound effects. You can use just the camera and its different movement and angles, and it can give you a message. And that's really powerful because when you stack that on top of like dialogue and music, it can create something very powerful. I think that's great.
Nice. Very nice. Now, Wilson, please tell us about student studies, cup of tea, nature, and the orange projects you have created in this TV production course.
Sure thing. So my first was student studies. That one, it's probably my worst one because I didn't do what Peter suggested, and I didn't plan everything out all beforehand like you're supposed to. I just kind of gave myself a couple hours and started shooting and went with it. And that created a lot of problems with time in terms of how long it took to shoot and how long it took to edit, because I was not organized, and it just made everything a lot more difficult. I learned about cutting on the action here, and I think I did an okay job with it, but I think I did a lot better with it in the second project, which is the cup of tea. So for the cup of tea, my sister helped me out here. This, I felt like I did a lot better at cutting on the action. There were a lot more fluid moments in it. There were some continuity errors that I didn't really notice until I got into the editing portion. So if I could go back, that's something I would fix. But overall, I was really happy with how it came out. And it worked really well because I actually planned it out and had a shot list and a diagram to refer to. So the nature project, this one was a lot of fun. It probably took the longest for me to film. So with this is Poor Man's Dissolve coming up. We're going to lose our focus and then get refocused into another shot here. That's probably one of my favorite effects next to the continuous zoom, which is at the end. Yeah, continuous zoom. But I wish I started the nature a little sooner so I could have had more like green leaves in it. And then this is my orange project. So I had a lot of fun with this one. It was about my orange being sentient and it wanted to escape from being eaten. This one was challenging because I wanted to include my dog, and I wrote him into the plot. And he's still a puppy. He's under 2 years old, so he listens, but he's very hyperactive and has a short attention span. So it took a lot of different takes to actually be able to get him.
I give you a lot of credit. It's very hard to bring an animal into production. Now, Wilson, would you like to tell us about your best project?
Sure thing. So I think my best project was probably the cup of tea. There are definitely mistakes in it, but the mistakes, I feel, they only take away so much from it. And since it was my second project, I was kind of okay that there were mistakes. I was expecting it, but they were a lot more notable to me than the first project, and because of that, I wanted to try and not have the same mistakes. Like my sister did some incomplete actions, like with the tea bag, where like right there with the kettle, she just kind of was holding it still, and I had to put a thing under the kettle to not burn the wood. So there's like a continuity error, but overall in terms of how I put it together, I was happy with how it turned out.
That was very good. Now, how long did you say that took you?
Probably 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours? Nice. Now, you mentioned the variety of things you have learned in this course. What was the most interesting and important skill you learned, and how would you put it to use?
So probably the most interesting and important skill I learned was scripting and the process of like storyboarding, because I've had ideas for like projects. I'm a writer and I wanted to get into film and such, but I never really tried it out. And after taking this course and going through the process of scripting and storyboarding for these projects, it really taught me like how much preparation is actually done beforehand. And I didn't really know that before going in. So now I feel that I can go and try out my own like creative projects of stuff I want to do, and I know like what I have to do before I can get into it, like the planning process, if you will. And I think that's a really valuable skill.
Well, Wilson, I give you a lot of credit. Very talented.
Thank you.
Today we got to meet someone who shared with us what the world of costume design is like. As a new TV director, he hopes to apply what he has learned here at NCC to enhance his photo and video capturing ability to use at conventions in the future. He also plans to use the new knowledge from TV1 to be able to edit together exciting new projects going forward. We would like to thank Wilson for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure. We'd love to have you back. We hope you enjoyed meeting one of television's future directors, and we hope you will continue to join us each week to watch our progress. Thank you, and have a great day.
This has been The New Directors with your host, Anthony Rancelli, directed by Caitlin Cleary. I'm your announcer, Josue Wilson. The New Directors is the Norwalk Community College student production.